A day in my life getting laid off at Google. So I woke up to this really ominous text from my boss, and I honestly had no idea what it was going to be about. So I called her the minute I woke up and saw this, and she told me to check the news and my email. So I rushed downstairs to find out that I had lost access to basically everything. I couldn't log into my email or even check my calendar. I called my boss back, and we just sobbed over the phone because she was also finding out about my layoff for the first time today too. I started getting calls from a bunch of my coworkers and started finding out who else was let go on my team and some neighboring teams as well. But I think the worst part is that it seems like no one was consulted on this decision and everyone was just finding out about the layoffs at the same time. It just felt like a really bad game of Russian roulette, and there was no consistency around who was let go. It was also not performance-based, so it just felt really random. I opened up LinkedIn, which honestly was not great for my mental health. There were so many people who were in the same boat that were both equally as shocked and blindsided, but it did help me feel a little less alone. Honestly, I spent so much of the day crying.
Over the last decade, and with the increase in the implementation of the feminist agenda, more and more companies were made to hire women by law. Companies had gender quotas that they needed to fill. They had a number of mandatory female workers that they had to hire as board members or regional or global heads of various departments such as marketing and procurement. But all of that came at a price, and women and feminism are both to blame for this as well. Women have made it so. It's their fault 100%. Of course, men have done their share of negatives at work. Me Too has had a backlash. If a man is harassing or abusing, he should be held accountable. False charges against men should be treated as harassment and abuse, and should be treated in the same manner. Working with women is like walking through landmines. You never know when you're going to get hurt. Men know they're going to get in trouble if they do anything even remotely wrong. Women don't. Women know that society and the law are on their side. They can get away with exploiting a male or placing a totally made-up allegation against him that can get the man fired. But why is it that women can apparently do everything a man can do, but at the same time need gender quotas to help them do what men do without help? Imagine being such an undesirable employee that they have to pass laws forcing a company to hire you. So much for equality. In my experience, women have always brought nothing but drama and gossip to the workplace. When a boss tells a male employee to do something, he does it. When a boss tells a female employee to do something, she argues with him and needs to make her opinion known. If you want work to get done, you hire men. If you want headaches, you hire women. Iceland is the biggest example of how modern women are overvalued at work, and the reaction from companies in the country only proved this point. Men will continue to avoid working with women as long as they continue to overreact to the movement and level false charges against them that we constantly see in the media. There's no place for gossip and drama at the office, and unfortunately, that's what most women bring to it. And companies will secretly continue to avoid hiring women because they know the more women they have in the company, the more drama it will lead to, and the more its work and profits will suffer as a result. It's like having a grown-up coworker complain about being hungry. Just replying, "Then eat something," is considered a lack of empathy. As allegedly, you have to go on, in a lengthy conversation, what poor person she is, and that she has to endure more than anyone else. Modern women will unfortunately always, and I mean always, need to be validated. If you do your job, then well, that's the whole point for you. Being there and getting paid for. But that isn't good enough, as they need to be told how great they did. This whole participation award is a show. Many women forget why they're at work. They often complain about duties they're hired to do, claiming, "That isn't my job." These women should be reminded that the reason they're at work is to do work, and they have to do it to earn money. Have a lot of work? Didn't finish it all? Well, that's why employees get 8 hours and 5 days to do so. What you don't finish one day can be resumed the next. Women will whine, moan, and wriggle out of assigned duties, but as soon as they lose that job, no longer collecting a paycheck, then they're wishing they were doing that job they claimed wasn't theirs. Feminists have increased the negative effects of imposter syndrome because we women are figuring out that we don't belong in certain jobs and only receive the perks because of our gender. It's horrible for our self-esteem, but feminists continue to shoot us in the foot. Gender quotas and diversity hiring should be made illegal. It is pure discrimination. The only parameter that counts is how talented and skilled a person is, how good his or her portfolio is. How much experience does that person have? With pride comes destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. These women's pride and narcissism are going to come back on them in failure. They have a trail of destruction behind them. Many lives are brought under stress from them. They have an evil character. The most dangerous people in an office right now are young women. If they decide they don't like your face, you're out. And sometimes they just don't like your face because you don't like theirs, or refuse to submit to them, or to do extra chores for them. It doesn't matter if they are half as skilled as you, or half your age. HR and management will always play along, like in a nightmare. Just stay away from women in the office completely. It's the only way to be sure to keep your job. And even then, every new girl they hire is another person who can get you fired at any time. Laws, policies, regulations, and all those other driving factors that push for hiring quotas for women in those leadership positions are now null and void. If someone pushes back on that, ask them to define what a woman is and watch them fall apart. At the time a hire decision is being made and someone's told they have to hire a woman to fill quotas, simply state, "I identify as a woman," and that makes that issue disappear. That means businesses can just hire who's best for that position, and quotas are no longer an issue. EEO has been tossed out with all those other laws, covering all those previously identified classifications, as identity politics, and DEI have effectively made them no longer enforceable. The truth is, women approach their job like they approach their personal relationships. I got into the contracting and insurance claim business and dealt primarily with men, all day, every day. What a difference. We dealt with challenges by discussing how to solve the issue at hand and proceeded accordingly, versus talking about our feelings. Today, when I have to deal with a female from one of my sources, suppliers, subs, insurance renewal, etc., I anticipate being hung up on, voicemails or emails never returned, and having to start over with a male employee to get anything done. If you look closely at the backgrounds of women working around you, you will see the disparity. Imagine someone with a political science degree and experience as a paralegal and swim coach being the head of the budget management division. What else can you expect besides absolute incompetence from such a person? Another has an associate's degree in graphic design and heads the program analysis division. What happened to employing people based on qualifications? And the sad part is these incompetent women are usually the ones who make the workplace miserable. You can't please the unpleasant, no matter how much effort you invest. This phrase reflects the idea that some individuals or situations are inherently difficult to satisfy or appease. Despite your best intentions and attempts to accommodate their needs or desires, these people or circumstances seem to always find something to criticize or remain unsatisfied with. It's a reminder that there are limits to how much you can do to make everyone happy, and it's important to recognize when it's more productive to focus your energy elsewhere. This socializing stuff is really an issue with female coworkers. It seems to be the main focus at work and everything else has to take a back seat. And they get highly irritated if you show no interest in socializing with them, in what they have to say, and complain about a lack of empathy if you show no care for whatever stuff they complain about. A gender quota does more harm than good. It's all about the feminist agenda. Quota is more important than reality in the eyes of the law. The law is sometimes contrary to common sense. I'd rather employ qualified men than not so qualified women out of legal obligation. The bottom line is, reality is more important than quota. The law is contrary to common sense. Men know what it's like to feel like they're a constant threat to women. At any moment, if you even look at a woman wrong, she'll label you a creep. Men are proud. Men will not tolerate this kind of slander and disrespect. This is one of the reasons men are staying away from women at work. This is the reason why fewer women are being hired by large organizations, and they're only doing it to fill their quotas. Frankly speaking, I'm not against women getting high positions if they are the best at the job. I'd hire more women than men, but to hire based on gender only is just stupid. Men are smart to ignore and avoid women at all costs, and men should avoid talking to women or even looking their way at work. You as men should treat women as if they don't exist and leave any space they enter. Treat all women as if they are someone you can't stand and they make you sick, so you avoid them all the time. The Me Too movement failed. Companies who know this know the reality behind hiring women, which is why they don't anymore. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. As always, we're looking forward to your support. So please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything All Kings.